Hi, Beth Carson here. We're going to talk about some of the design decisions that I made in decorating two condos in the Tao Residences community of the Tulum Acamal area in Mexico. If you look at the gold platter, kind of brass looking, very shiny, that's a piece I found after my first visit when we picked out the furniture package. I was shopping in IKEA and I found it. And that became my inspiration piece for the entire condo, the main living area. It looks like an inverted golf ball and it's gold and it just has a lot of wow factor. And I can't remember if it was $22 or $25, but it's plastic. And so it held up in my suitcase really well, was very light to travel with, and I just loaded up on them. Here's my friend Kelly. As you can see on some of the nail holes, they hung them a bit too high, so here we're placing them exactly where we wanted to. And here is the whole living area that has come together. You can see those gold platters just add so much for a very inexpensive amount of money. There's some wow factor there that you don't normally see. My secondary colors were silver or gray, and then the bright pop of red, and I used red throughout sparingly. And then the silky wood just gave a really nice juxtaposition of the kind of metallic colors that were going on. There's another angle, and you can kind of see the outdoor furniture, how it complements. The large brass object you can see in between the two bedrooms, I found that in Mexico and it just pulled the whole wall together. I had the guys put in two rows of red glass tile, and then on the other side from the brass I hung a mirror that was surrounded in silvery white metallic mosaic, and it's just perfect. And you can see on the table here I have another one of those golden platters with some natural elements in them. And in the kitchen, I tried to use pops of red when it was practical. And then here's a shot from the living room. And then another one where I really caught this was in more an artistic shot where I really caught on the far right-hand side, the pattern of the golden platter. And then here's another shot where you see the red bowl that I found on the table. Now we're going to talk about the townhouse. And the first one we did was the penthouse, and that's where the owner's going to stay, and he's an avid golfer. So I really wanted to capture high class, elegance, golf. It's more for adults to appreciate than for families with young children. The townhouse, if you can look up, has this gorgeous skylight and it backs up to the main pool. They're going to be building another pool, but this is the main pool right now. So I kind of wanted to go with Caribbean blues and greens. When I was out shopping, I saw, if you can see here, this green lamp. It's one of my favorite shops. And I needed something for a mantle in a doorway, for it to go above a doorway. And so I had this lovely man get up and pull down all sorts of lamps. And then here we are. We had to take off their tops. You can see to the right and the left on the table, that's where they were strung by the wire to be hung, but they wouldn't be able to rest upright if they had those on. There was one that had enough around the bottom edge that he could sit as he was with his top on. But here you see in the doorway, look how fabulous that looks with those artistic pieces from historic Mexico, handcrafted, really pull the colors in. And then here's a piece I found, I'm pretty sure at Sears. I could have found it at Liverpool, which is a very high-end store, but I used that store sparingly and only bought things that I couldn't find elsewhere for a real pop of wow factor. Now let's look upstairs on the rooftop. for as much money as I saved inside, I splashed out on these pieces. Look at these, another view of these loungers. The leaf provides shade. You can pick up the pin and you can turn it different ways, and you can also remove it completely. And then if you'll notice, right next to that orange pillow, there's a wooden sort of end table right there, and then it goes along the length. And then back here to the hammock, that is such a beautiful piece, that floating hammock. Now let's go back inside. This is the same room. The doorway is to the left where the beautiful hand-blown glass lamps are. And this is the rest of the room. And then here, if you saw my videos in the actual article on the lamps from IKEA, I think these were 15 to 20, I think they were $15 a piece. And as you can see, there's this beautiful blue with a copper color on the inside. So I put a splash of orange there with the flower on the countertop. That's a fake flower, so no need to water it. And then here's a view of kind of another piece on the bottom right of a multi-pronged star made out of glass. And then you can see the lounge area to the left and the kitchen off to the right. And then here's a shot of the kitchen. In this room also, I had them put a wall of tile, and you can see that on the right hand side you kind of have a skewed view of it, but this is kind of a metallic silver wall, and it just adds so much to the room. And then you can see outside there's a table and chairs, and then if you look in the window in the master bedroom, there's a plunge pool beyond that which also has blue tile. And again, I just love those lamps that are hanging on the kitchen above the counter. Now let's talk about bedrooms. There are a couple things that I think every bedroom needs to have. And on the left-hand side, you see there's a chair, a comfortable chair. And we sat in those, and those truly are comfortable to sit in. If you can at all have the room to put a chair in your bedrooms, do that. I'm staying at a vacation rental right now, and there's plenty of room for a chair. But unfortunately, when people have been in the other rooms, I've had to work from the bed. And it would be so nice to work from a chair and prop my feet up on the bed, but that's been my only choice. So make sure you put a comfortable chair and ottoman if you can fit that in. Now, most bedrooms have TVs, but not everybody likes to watch TV. So here is a speaker that I got on Amazon, JBL, which is very high quality. It was only $25. I had one myself and then they discontinued them, so I knew it was a good brand. And it's a charging station for iPhones 5 and above. But if you have something other than that, if you have an Android phone or an earlier one, you can still use a $5 cord that I bought in the back of it and just plug it in and use it as a speaker. And this kind of helps drown out the noise if somebody's in the other room watching football or golf or something and you just want to read. This gives you a little bit of a haven, turns your room, gives it another dimension. Now, bedside reading is another important thing. And this is another lamp, and you can see that back in the article that I wrote from IKEA. You can see when I found it. Also, I think it was about $20, very inexpensive. What you don't see is above the bed, in the ceiling, there are two lights that come down, but they're a little bit difficult to read by. And what I like to do is read right before I go to bed. And if I have to get up out of bed and go turn off the light, that kind of interrupts my regular sleep pattern. So try not to do that if at all possible. And give them proper reading light next to the bed. And you can even screw lamps to the wall as long as you have the outlets there, and it really is worth the investment. If you don't have room for a bedside table, and I hope you do, but if you don't, screw lamps into the wall and that'll really help. The other thing this room shows is a large bed. This is a king size bed, and if at all possible, well, not if at all possible, get the biggest bed for the room that you have. I knew of an owner who had plenty of room for a king, but he said, I don't want to spend the extra money on it. But it eliminates a lot of people. I sleep in a king, and if there's not a king in the vacation rental, I will not look at that one as an option. That's part of what I select when I'm looking for beds. So if you only have a room that will fit a queen, don't get a full, get a queen. So do the largest bed that your room can comfortably manage. And here's that room again. Once again, we have the comfortable chair, and then you can see a peek of the pool in the backyard. And this is the last slide I'm going to show you. It's not particularly a great photograph, but on the left-hand side, you see there's a mirror there. And I think every bedroom should have a full-length mirror so you can check and make sure your skirt hem is not turned up, that you haven't caught your pants in your sock, that just you look put together. So here are some design tips. Oh, the last thing I almost forgot. Oh my goodness, really important thing. One thing hotels have learned from vacation rentals, and we should be learning as much as we can from hotels. Now, how many times have you been to a hotel and there's been no blackout curtains? It's only happened to me one time, and it was when I got a day room at LAX, and I couldn't believe it because I was trying to sleep during the day, and they had sheer curtains, and my head about popped off. You can't really see it, but these roller shades, there are 2 sets on each window. And one comes down and it's a bit translucent. You can see outside, but it takes a lot of the glare off and it offers a little privacy. The ones behind it, closest to the window, are completely opaque and no light can get through them. And you can find inexpensive blackout curtains. I've found them some great ones at Walmart a few years ago that looked like blue silk, and they were insulated too. So that's good for cold weather and warm weather. And they were made by Better Homes and Garden. I've seen them at Target, and they help with your heating and cooling costs, as well as give your guests the option of sleeping late on vacation. So much in their work days, they have to get up at a certain time, and they're a slave to the alarm clock. When they're on vacation, give them the opportunity to sleep in as long as they want. So there you have it, my tips on what every bedroom should have and kind of my thought process in the design. I hope you got something out of it. Post on Facebook. Post something that you really love about your house or your vacation rental, or maybe an area that you're just not sure about and you'd like to get some input on what you can put on top of a certain table or on a wall. And we'll be glad to throw in some suggestions. To your success.